Good morning, everyone, and happy Labor Day. So today is September 1st, Labor Day. We're celebrating laborers, people who have worked hard to build and develop the United States in one way or another. So we're celebrating them today. But it also it's a double celebration, I guess. We're starting off, so September 1st is kicking off the Life Insurance Awareness Month. And I know I had, my video that got posted this morning, I mentioned Financial Literacy Month. That's actually in April. But again, financial literacy is timeless. It doesn't matter when you sit down and make that conscious decision to be financially literate or to educate yourself on financial or be financially aware. So I'm using this month, even though it's Life Insurance Awareness Month. I want to use this month as my financial literacy month and send out tips every day, little one liners just to keep our juices going. I'm going to keep them I'll come on and do some lives here, and I have a few scheduled, kind of sprinkled out through the month. We'll keep them short and sweet. That way I'm not keeping people too long. Just to kind of get our brains thinking a little bit, making some changes, because our financial journey is very important. And again, you see my title, the Health and Wealth Queen. I'm claiming that title because, as you know, I'm a family nurse practitioner, but I'm also, a financial professional. So, those two worlds, I'm wanting to merge them together. So those tips will be reaching out to the general public, reaching out to healthcare professionals like myself, just tips to spread out throughout the month and then throughout the year as well. But this month I'll be more intentional about this and try to come on and do this a little bit here and there and just casually. So the topic today is the three phases of wealth creation. So wealth creation it has a formula that we have to go by, because if you're just going on, you're doing something without actually having a roadmap or using a GPS, you might not get to your destination. I know back in the day we used MapQuest, and we read we had a paper. I don't know how we drove. We were driving and looking at that paper and trying to get to our destination. But now we can just plug in an address into our phone in the GPS, and it will take us where we need to go. So wealth creation, you need to have a GPS. And that GPS is it's the stages, the different phases of, that will take you there. And there are three phases. There's accumulation, there's protection, and there's distribution. Accumulation is that period when you're putting together your funds, you're putting together money over a period of time with the goal of getting to a destination at some point in the future. And that phase is very important because the way you accumulate your funds matter. If you accumulate in the wrong bucket, you may or may not get to your final goal, at retirement, or whatever your goal is for wealth creation. Most people it's retirement, because personally that's one of the things that keeps me up at night, thinking about having a, a peaceful retirement where I'm not worried about my money being unsecured. um, and then the second phase is protection. Protection is also important because if you've accumulated your funds and you don't protect it, you end up losing a lot of your funds, or not being able to protect your income. When you need it the most, you won't have that protection for your money. So we protect everything else. We protect our phones, blenders, air fryers. We protect our what is it? Toasters. We protect even people who go do surgery on their bodies. They protect those parts of the bodies more than they protect their income, and the income is more important than anything else, and we don't protect that. So we want to make sure that in that phase we're protecting our money, we're protecting our families, ourselves, and giving ourselves an instant estate as well with that protection. And this being Life Insurance Awareness Month, we want to think about, what kind of protection do we need, because we need to get out of that rat race of always of depending on, the community coming in and chipping in when something happens, when an unforeseen circumstance happens. Because when we talk about life insurance, a lot of people get all knotted up, they get defensive. Some people walk away from you. They're afraid of the word life insurance, because life insurance has been made into a negative thing, as if, we're saying that you have to die. That on Wednesday, I'll be talking about the different types of life insurance, and I'll break them down a little bit more. But we have to remember that life insurance is basically, we're transferring risk. You're transferring the risk to someone else, to the insurance company. And the company, they know that they have to deliver when that time comes around. So instead of the family having that burden, you're transferring it over to somebody else. And so, it's not, a lot of people hate life insurance, but we should like what life insurance can do for us. It's really important for us to start reshaping our mindset a little bit, and start thinking about how we can benefit from it and use it as a wealth building tool. So in that protection phase, life insurance can come into that phase to help us out a little bit with the protection. And then the last phase is distribution. So if you've accumulated your funds, you've protected your funds, you want to get to that point where you can start getting some income out of that accumulated funds that you've put together, whether it's at retirement, but you designing your retirement, not retiring by default, where you decide when you want to retire. If you put your money in the right bucket, you can also decide specifically when you want to retire. Because a lot of times they're retiring because the government said, I have to retire at age 67, 65, whatever the age is when that time comes around. So just, we want to make sure that the distribution phase is as tax advantaged as possible, because taxes and the market can make a difference on how you retire. It can reshape the timing of your retirement. It can reshape the the way you retire, because you might have to scale down on your plans. If you had already laid out a plan how you wanted to retire, at this point you may have to reshape it, because taxes have messed with that bucket that you filled up, or you thought you filled up for retirement, or the market, because you won't know what the volatility of the market is going to do to your retirement. So these three phases are important to know, and I'm not going into details on on this. I'm just wanting to kind of just kind of highlight them a little bit, so that people can start thinking about it. And of course, if you're wanting to know more, we can sit down and actually do a personal financial review for you, because it's not a one size fits all. It's really personalized, customized, and it has to fit your needs, because everyone, again, like I started to say, is on a different part of that journey. Some people are at the beginning, some people are in the middle, some people have done what they need to do. They just need one or two things that they need to tweak on their financial journey. And some people haven't started thinking about it at all. So of course, when you sit down with these different people, you're looking at their particular circumstance, and then actually designing a plan for each person, based on their circumstances. But not even knowing what those phases are doesn't help the situation. You have to actually know that that there's a roadmap, that I need to have some kind of direction, because if you don't plan, you're failing to plan, right? When you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Yeah, that's how it's said, right? So that's all for today. I really wanted to just, kickstart the Life Insurance Awareness Month with the first financial tip, being the phases of wealth creation, and just preparing us for the month to see a lot more of me, hear a lot more from me. Today, I'm kind of hoarse. I have a cold, But the show must go on. All right, take care. We'll keep it at 10 minutes today and just go from there. Like, if you haven't joined or subscribe to my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. Like the videos, share. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. Just share it, so that you can help somebody else with their financial journey as we go along. Well, until next time, this is Sagi Fogwe, the Health and Wealth Queen. See you soon.